Welcome, episode 10 of the Excited Bull TV Talk. I'm Kim and I'm coming to you from Norman, Oklahoma, where I live with my fiance Jason, our 3 dogs, and a bunch of family. Thank you for joining me, and as always, if you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe down below. Okay, so for the first time in a while, we're not going to talk about X-Files because I haven't watched any. I kind of binged myself out last weekend. I got a lot of time. I watched like a bajillion episodes. So I kind of needed a breather. So we'll throw up spoilers real quick for the first episode of Channel Zero, the new season, Butcher's Block, and spoilers for The Magicians, specifically season 3, but really all Magicians. But really all Magicians episodes. So, spoilers! Sorry, my spoilers hands. I don't know why like jazz hands are spoilers hands to me, but they are. Anyway, the first episode of Channel Zero, Butcher's Block, was probably the creepiest first episode of any of the 3 seasons I have seen so far of this show. Those toddler-sized gremlin, goblin, troll, baby-faced things in pajamas. Oh my fucking god. Those are fucking terrifying. And the stairs in the middle of nowhere in that creepy park. And the lady who cuts up her hand. Oh my god, there's so many things that had me creeped out. And so I watched that late one evening this week when Jason was not at home, and I'm like going about the house and like the windows are dark because it's lit night outside and it's just me and the dogs, and you know it's a house where there's noises. Yeah, I freaked myself out a little bit with that first episode. It was good and creepy. I have the second episode on my DVR probably this afternoon after I finish up with all of the videoing and everything. We're gonna watch that in the daylight so I don't freak myself out again. And then this morning, so I've been watching season 3 of The Magicians, and this show, in all honesty, I haven't been able to explain why I still watch it, because I enjoy bits of it, but for the most part it's kind of lackluster to me. And then I watched season 3, episode 5 this morning, which is called A Life in the Day. Oh my fucking god, you guys. I cried in an episode of The Magicians. This is not a common occurrence. Had nothing to do with 90% of the cast. Had everything to do with Elliot and Quentin. Oh, like I got goosebumps just now thinking about it again. I didn't even delete it off the DVR after I watched it because I think I want to rewatch it again. So, again, I'm going to reiterate spoilers because I don't want to spoil this episode for anyone. So if you have not watched it and you intend on it, please turn this off, come back later, and talk to me about it. But, so I hope I've given you enough time. Please turn it off. I hate spoiling things. So Elliot and Quentin time travel back to an older, back to the past, Fillory of the past, back when the Chatwin children were first coming to Fillory, and back when Martin was first turning bad, and I can't remember the sister's name. Jane Chatwin was first starting to try and stop him. They travel back in there to complete this puzzle, this unsolvable puzzle, because you know Fillory's just high fantasy masquerading as not high fantasy or something like that, or trying to be high fantasy. It's an unsolvable puzzle that you solve and you get this key, and this key is what they need to return magic back to the world. So you kind of expect them to work at it, find a trick, solve it, and move on, like the rest of that show has been about. What it is Elliot and Quentin build a life. Like, this puzzle becomes their work. And they build a life. Quentin meets a girl. Well, like, Quentin and Elliot have always, like, since season 1, I think, kind of had a romantic thing. I do enjoy that on The Magicians, that they play with fluid sexualities. Like, Quentin, I think, identifies primarily as a straight male, but he's not closed off from his romantic relationships with men as well. I know there are some homophobes out there who are going to freak out right now, but that is how life can be sometimes. I know it seems harder for guys, which probably is what makes it even better in my mind, is because we see this with women happen more. They did it too. It is a common theme in this show, because they did it with the Prince Ness. His name is Ness, and he's a prince. Prince Ness. Or S. His name is S, and he's a prince. Prince S, that's it. He was kind of gender fluid as well. Or, not gender fluid. Sexually fluid. Pansexual, bisexual. I know there are a bajillion terms, and I'm using them incorrectly. But basically unopposed to romantic involvement with either gender. It's also how I identify, so it's probably why I get as excited about this as I do. Because it's not something you see a lot on, where it's not a joke, or it's not gross. I don't know, like, it's portrayed, the few times it's portrayed on TV, bisexuality or pansexuality, it's never portrayed, or it's rarely portrayed favorably. So I'm enjoying the favorable portrayal of bisexuality in this show. But so Quentin and Elliot, you know, they're alone in the middle of nowhere working on this puzzle. They kind of fall in love again. Or, they never fell in love anyway. They kind of have romance. But then Quentin meets a girl. And they get married. And they have a baby. And Elliot, you know, he's a part of the family. They don't really discuss, you know, do Quentin and Elliot still have a physical relationship? I don't need to know. You see these moments where Elliot comforts Quentin. And it's so beautiful. Quentin has a child, and that child grows up, and the child goes off. And this whole time they're still working on this puzzle to try and solve it. To get the key. To bring magic back to their world. And child goes off, and the child has kids. And they have grandkids. And one day Elliot dies. And Quentin goes to bury him. And he finds a piece to the puzzle that they didn't know existed in the ground, where he was going to bury his best friend, his partner. And it's this beautiful gold, like, beaten gold tile piece. And he puts it in the puzzle. Puzzle solved. And it is probably, like, I'm getting a little choked up talking about it, but it is probably one of the most beautiful TV episodes I've ever seen. And has now made it where I can never quit the show. So even though I may not enjoy the rest of the show, I'm not stuck with it, because that one episode was so beautiful. Yeah, it's worth the other 2 seasons and the first bit of this season. And it's worth whatever else comes. Which, by the way, saw previews for next week, or the next episode, because it's already out. I have it already in the DVR, I just haven't watched it yet. Poppy, character from the books, makes an appearance. I have no idea. She is nothing like the book character, but I still thought it was cool. I've had a friend who also read the books and watched, I think, only season 1, and was really bummed that she wasn't in it. So I'll have to let him know that Poppy is in it. Okay, and that's all I really have for TV talk this week. I plan on watching some more Channel Zero, probably some more Magicians, and I don't think I have really much else queued up. I might get back into X-Files. We'll see. Until next week, I hope you all have a wonderful week and make some time to watch something that moves you. Bye.